But instead of Hove, it's just me. It's just the game and Hit Boy. And we brought the stove in the mud. We gonna cook up. We gonna cook something up, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be delicious. And then we gonna whoop you whoop y'all ass like you went into your mama's purse and stole some. Like, you ain't supposed to do that. Get your ass out of here. So the game's got a new project coming out in just a couple of weeks titled Drillmatic, featuring production solely by Hit Boy. And if you've paid attention to Hit Boy over the past couple of years, he's one of the producers that everyone wants to work with. Like, he's been so busy, like working with Nas, Big Sean, Dreezy, like just plenty of people. So when they dropped their first single, Violence, I mean, we gotta go bar for bar and break down these lyrics. If you're new here, these breakdowns are where I go through and read out the lyrics to a song and give my interpretation of what the artist is trying to say. My interpretations are not always correct, and I do miss some things, so if I miss something or misinterpret anything, please let me know in the comments below. That way, everyone gets to learn something. So the track starts off with a bit of an intro, basically just saying, like, this game and Hit Boy album is going to be dangerous. It's going to be amazing. And honestly, I'm excited. I've liked the game for a while, so, however you may feel, like, he's always been solid, in my opinion. The start then goes into a chorus.
When they play that new Geezy, all the dope boys go crazy. All the dope boys go crazy. I lace my Converse, then I swing my chain. You ain't ready to die, about it, jump back in your lane.
So the chorus is basically a play on Jeezy's, Young Jeezy's, well, I guess regular Jeezy now, his track, Go Crazy, but he just kind of flips it to make it more appropriate for the game. I also don't know that anyone's ever called the game Geezy. Yeah. we can let that slide though, because the hook's cool. This then goes right into the first verse, and actually also with the chorus, it's the I believe the remix specifically with Jay-Z, and that makes sense, or is important to note, because he goes in and references Jay-Z throughout this track. So he goes into the first verse.
It's like Hove in this motherfucker, but it's just me and Hit. We bought the stove in this motherfucker. Cook something. Whoop you niggas ass like you went inside your mama purse and took something.
It's like Hove in this motherfucker. Directly referencing the chorus, but also just Jay-Z. It's like Jay-Z is one of the greats, so he's like, nah, this energy that we got going, this track, it's like Hove's here. But instead of Hove, it's just me. It's just the game and Hit Boy. And we brought the stove in the motherfucker. We gonna cook up. We gonna cook something up, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be delicious. And then we gonna whoop y'all ass like you went into your mama's purse and stole some. Like, you ain't supposed to do that. Get your ass out of here. But it makes sense. He's just flexing. He's like, we can do this. Like, we got better stuff out there than what you got.
We in them twin Rarries, it's gonna be a good summer. I can see the future, let's call him and get a hook, something. Scream from the rooftop, free Young Thug, so I can reverse the bar, get chick on one blood.
So both him and Hit Boy are in the twin Rarries, either twin being identical looking Rarries or Ferraris, or they're just twin turbos, or they're just two Ferraris. But it's gonna be a good summer. Hit Boy knows what he's doing with this. Well, the game also. I feel like the game also only releases around summertime anyways. So, that makes sense. I can see the future. He's looking to the future, but then he flips it and it's like, oh no, let's call a Future. Let's get him on a hook. I also wouldn't be surprised if Future's on a hook later on in this album, which would make sense. It would be great. The game's the type of person who would do that. Like, he'll reference something in a track and then later on it'll show up. Like, maybe not necessarily in that same album, but later on, like on another track. Scream from the Rooftops, free Young Thug. Man, that shit's wild. Not even gonna lie. But he wants to do that so he can reverse the bar that he gave Jigga, Hove, on One Blood. The bar was essentially alluding to Jay-Z being like 38 or nearly 38 at that time, and he's still rapping. Like, he wants like it more like, and at that time he was more like, oh, why are you still rapping for? But now, the game is older. I think he's 40 or damn near it, and he wants it so that like Young Thug is able to be at that age and still rap and be around. Like he realized that, like, yeah, that was kind of a silly thing to say. But, and you know, rappers are getting older now. Like we want to see this.
Still fresh like cold white Air Forces got me dressed like Andre, the doc. Sometimes I pull up on him and the door still locked. I don't knock, but the hit boy beats do.
So fresh, like it's another reference to Game's discography. Coke white Air Forces, which just white Air Forces. Everyone's worn them at one point or another, but it's got him dressed like a young Andre, Dr. Dre. Like, because honestly, even current day Dr. Dre still be wearing Coke white Air Forces. Sometimes I pull up on him and the door's still locked. Maybe he's talking about Dre, because I don't know what their relationship is at this point. It may be a little more strained. Like Dre may not want to talk to the Game too often. I don't know what it is, but he's like, man, even though that door's still locked sometimes, I mean, these Hit Boy beats, they're always open to me. And like, he doesn't even knock on the door. Like, he'll just walk right in, and these beats are already doing what they do. Or it could also be like him saying, I don't knock. Like, even though like the door is locked, he has a way in. Like, he can get in. Like, Dre may be closed off to other people, but he's still open to the Game.
Welcome to the surf club, and we bought the beach too. West Side Connected, Ice Cube, Dub C2. You don't bow down, the Mac 10 will reach you.
Welcome to the surf club. We brought the beach too. I mean, yeah, sure. Like they got everything. They got everything you need. West Side Connection, or West Side Connected, was a West Side Connect reference. Ice Cube, Dub C2. If you don't bow down, which is one of their songs. The Mac 10, the gun, but also the rapper will reach you. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool flip there. This then goes into a refrain, violence. All I hear is violence. All I hear is violence. When I walk into the room, dudes get silent. Sirens. All I hear is sirens. All I hear is sirens. So many guns clapping, starting to sound like violins. I mean, you knew that violin and violence, like, flip was going to come. Like, it was kind of expected at this point. But, I don't know. It was cool. It was a cool refrain there. All I hear is violence. And every time, like, it's almost like he's kind of the instigator, because when he walks in the room, everyone gets silent. But then in the background, all you hear is the sirens. Like, things are getting wild outside. This then goes into the chorus again, which is the same as before, and then we get the second verse from the Game.
You rap niggas is crisscross. I don't respect niggas, only Nas and the big dog. And this time around, my pocket's fatter than Rick Ross. She lick around the Glock, cause I ain't taking the blick off.
So apparently y'all rap dudes is crisscross. Don't know why he's gonna say that, but that's probably just in reference to the rap group Crisscross, or like a song from them. Maybe, I don't know why he would say that. I feel like a lot of people like Crisscross, but he doesn't respect others in general. He only respects Nas and the Big Dog. The Big Dog, I don't know who he's talking about. It could really be anyone. And then this time around, his pockets are fatter than Rick Ross, which is just kind of rude. But also, Rick Ross has lost some weight, so maybe your pockets are still the same. Nah, but you know what he's saying there. And then she looks around the block because I ain't taking the blick off. Like, he's keeping it on him. He's staying strapped. He's ready because, you know, anything can happen. I mean, he's just protecting himself, right? But she's also like, okay, well, I don't know. Are we safe here? Sort of thing. Like, maybe she ain't from the block.
Niggas got me screwed up, but I don't sip sauce. I break down the chronic, then I smoke it like the exhaust. Yeah, broke down the chronic and I made me a career. I'm here. Ain't nobody shedding a tear. John Madden died, but the game's still here. Still holding the stick. Said John Madden died, but the game right here.
Y'all got me screwed up. Like chopped and screwed, but he doesn't sip the sauce. He doesn't sip lean. He breaks down the chronic. He smokes it like the exhaust. Chronic. We know what the chronic is. And then he broke down the chronic and made him a career off of that, which is kind of where the game came from. And then ain't nobody shedding a tear that he's still here. But John Madden died, but the game is still here. Like, I don't know why he's comparing himself to John Madden here, which is kind of interesting, I guess. But he's like, man, ain't no one shedding a tear that I'm still here, but John Madden died. Kind of weird, I guess. Or he could just be saying, people shed a tear when John Madden died, but don't worry, I'm still here. Or people will shed tears when he passes away. I don't know. This then goes back into the refrain and then into verse 3 from the game.
This is not the end for me. I'm living through my infamy. Every gunshot is a bittersweet symphony. That's why Hit Boy bought in a symphony. I hear what niggas dropping, so no wonder y'all sent for me.
This is not the infamy. I'm living through my infamy. The only thing that came to mind immediately was Mobb Deep. Also, the way that he said infamy sounded like end for me, so maybe there's something else there. He's also just living through his infamy. He's notorious for just being him. Like, everything that, or a lot of things that people know about the game are more negative in nature, I guess. Like, they feel some sort of way about him, so he's like, yeah, no, I'll take that. Kind of all publicity is good publicity sort of deal. Every gunshot is a bittersweet symphony. Like, could be like gunshots in terms of celebration, like when you fire up into the sky, or, you know, it's firing off on people. Like, or, I mean, even if it is firing off on people, it could be like, you know, if you put out a hit, or if you had to go take care of something, like, you knew, like, you know what you're getting yourself into. Like, you had to do this for one reason or another. Like, it's probably in your benefit at the end of the day. Like, there's a reason that you had to do that, and it's more than likely because you, like, it's gonna better you. Like, that's the only, like, thing that I can think of. But it's like, oh damn, I had to kill somebody, but I got revenge, or I had to do it for, like, to survive, sort of thing. Or just in general, whenever he gets gunshots, is like, he remembers back in the day. Like, these are the things that, like, it took him back to a different time. Like, he remembers maybe his childhood, but then also remembers all the people who died to gunshots. But because of these gunshots, Hit Boy brought in the symphony, being his production, essentially. And then he hates when people drop, so no wonder y'all sent for him. Were people going for the game like that? I don't know.
Almost cut my braids last night, but I was engaged. Had to go lay on a grenade last night. I was enraged, almost went out in a blaze last night. Wifey got drunk, I had to fuck the maid last night.
So he almost cut his braids because things were getting wild. He was engaged in some sort of activity, and he had to go make sure people were safe. He had to lay on the grenade. He had to take that hit. And then he was enraged, almost had to go out in a blaze last night. Kind of a follow-up to that previous line. Like, because he had to jump on that grenade, he almost had to, you know, take care of things. Or he almost got taken care of. And then wifey got drunk, so he had to fuck the maid last night. He didn't have to do that, but whatever.
Guess I was missing my fade last night. Heart versus mind, plucking out my grays last night. Middle of June, driving backwards in a May last night. And Mayweather looking for 50 like May last fight.
So he was missing his fade. Heart versus mind. Like, what your heart wants versus what your brain wants. And, like, they're kind of always in a constant fight or battle. And during that whole time, like, when he was, like, just processing it, I guess, he's over there plucking out grays. And I just imagine his beard, but you could probably be plucking it in your hair too. Because the game is a little bit older. He's got some grays. I mean, I got some grays too, but, you know, it is what it is. And then it's the middle of June right now, so it sounds like he either just wrote it or he knew it was releasing like June-ish originally. But he's driving backwards, so he's going back into May, because May, June. But it's also a reference or play on Maybach. Like, he's driving backwards in a Maybach last night. And Mayweather looking for 50 like May last fight. Like, you know, they got beef, Mayweather and 50. So he's like, while I'm driving backwards in May in a Maybach, like, I see Mayweather out there in the streets looking angry as hell, trying to find 50 to try to beat his ass. Nah, that's probably not what was happening.
Ears ringing like the Class A top. Rap niggas got me waiting for a Beyonce drop. And every fiend get a chain. When I weigh rock, used to add a line out the door like a Kanye drop.
So, y'all other rappers don't grab his interest to the point where he's looking to things other than rap. So, like the Beyonce drop, which is also interesting now, because now it sounds like this is way more recent, because Beyonce just announced that her album's coming out at the end of July, and she just put out a song last night. So, I don't know. The game's rapping from every perspective. Like it's weird. Like, is it recent? Is it a few months ago? I don't know. He also may have well known that Beyonce's got an album coming soon, or he could be talking about her Ivy Park stuff. I don't know. But he's like, y'all ain't exciting enough. I'm not interested in what you got, so I'm looking for Beyonce, which also goes back into the whole Jay-Z references earlier because they're obviously married. And then he's got y'all standing out and making a line out the door like a Kanye drop. Like, the game's that dude. He's grabbed you. He's gonna make you spend some money. You all gonna be excited for his drop. You're gonna be waiting. And then it goes back into the chorus, and that's the song. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's definitely a really interesting like single. Like, I don't know how the rest of the album is gonna sound based off of this, but if this is gonna be placed kind of higher in terms of the track list, I think it'd be solid because this would be like a good intro sort of thing. It could also very well just be thrown somewhere in the middle and be thought of as almost like an interlude. The song is not super short, so I don't really want to say it's an interlude, but there's bars there. It's solid. The game's never really been just awful, so I'm not upset about this. Like, I think it was pretty good. And I'm sure there's other references that I may have missed because the game is one of those rappers that pulls from the game. Like, he pulls references from everywhere in hip hop. So there's more to it, I'm sure. And this honestly just makes me more excited for the album. I think it got pushed to July 1st, so it's a little bit of a wait, but it'll be exciting nonetheless. But that's all I've got for the song. I thought it was cool. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the track and if I missed something or misinterpreted anything. Because, like I said, the game pulls a lot of references. It's entirely possible that I missed something. While you're down there, why don't you like and subscribe if you want to see more breakdowns, reactions, reviews, stuff like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.